After years of infertility, we finally had a baby. But then I found out my wife secretly used a sperm donor, and it was her ex. I was heartbroken, so I divorced her and walked away. Hello Reddit talkative here. I never imagined I'd become a father. After 7 years of fertility treatments, failed IVF cycles, hormone shots, and heartbreak, the word dad felt like a dream I wasn't allowed to have. My wife, Claire, and I had been trying to conceive since our 2nd anniversary. We were one of those couples, the ones who did everything right. We ate better, timed everything, visited specialist after specialist. We drained our savings. We even mortgaged our house to afford another round of IVF. The problem was always me. Low sperm count, poor motility. My numbers were hopeless. I'll never forget sitting in the urologist's office, holding Claire's hand as the doctor gently told me the odds were microscopic. It felt like being told you failed at the one thing evolution designed you to do. Claire cried that day. I didn't. I went numb. That numbness stayed with me for years. But then somehow, a miracle. She sat me down one Saturday morning, her hands trembling around a white stick. "It's positive," she whispered, her eyes wide. "It's really positive. I didn't question it. I didn't want to. Maybe the last round of IVF worked. Maybe some part of me had finally done its job. All I knew was we were going to be parents. That was all that mattered. For 9 months, I was the happiest I'd ever been. I painted the nursery pale green. I built the crib myself, sanding each edge until my fingers blistered. I read all the books, took every parenting class. Claire seemed happier too, glowing in that way pregnant women do. She held my hand at night, placed it on her belly when the baby kicked. It was the first time in years I felt close to her again. Our daughter, Eliza, was born on a rainy Tuesday morning. She was perfect. Tiny fingers, a dusting of dark brown hair, eyes so wide and curious it made my heart ache. I cried the first time I held her. I remember whispering, "I will protect you, always." The first few months were a blur of diapers, midnight feedings, and raw, overwhelming love. I was exhausted, sure, but grateful. I felt like I was finally living the life we fought so hard for, but something started gnawing at me. At first, it was subtle. Comments from family, "She doesn't really look like you, does she?" Or the way strangers assumed I was the uncle instead of the father. I laughed it off. Genetics are weird, I told myself. Still, the thought burrowed. One night, while Claire was asleep, I stared at Eliza's face. Really stared. Her eyes weren't like mine. Her mouth, her nose, none of it felt familiar. I shook it off. Told myself I was being paranoid. But the thought had taken root. 2 months later, I did something I never thought I'd do. I bought a DNA paternity test online. It sat unopened for a week. I hated myself for even considering it. But curiosity, or maybe fear, got the better of me. I swabbed her cheek while Claire was out with friends. I felt sick doing it, like I was betraying my own daughter. Still, I sent it off and waited. When the results came back, I couldn't breathe. 0% probability of paternity. I stared at the screen, rereading it over and over like it might change. My hands were shaking. I closed my laptop and sat in silence for what felt like hours. I wanted to confront Claire immediately, but part of me was terrified. Terrified of what she'd say. Terrified it might all come crashing down. So I waited. I spent another week pretending things were normal. I kissed Eliza goodnight. I made Claire coffee. But inside I was unraveling. Finally one night I asked, "Claire, is there anything you want to tell me about Eliza? About how we got pregnant?" She froze. Her fork paused mid-air. Her smile vanished. There was a flicker in her eyes, something between fear and guilt. "What are you talking about?" she asked. "I need to know," I said calmly. "Was a sperm donor involved?" She stared at me for a long time, then slowly nodded. "Yes," she said. "One of the doctors suggested it, when we thought the last round wouldn't work. And you didn't tell me? I thought it would break you. And then, when I got pregnant, it didn't seem to matter anymore. We had Eliza. That's what we wanted." "Who was the donor?" I asked. My voice was quiet. Cold. She looked away. I asked again. She whispered his name. Ben, her ex-boyfriend from college. The one she swore she hadn't spoken to in years. The one she told me meant nothing. I remembered him. Smug, charming, always somehow in the background of old stories. They'd dated for 4 years. I felt like I was going to vomit. "You lied to me," I said. "I didn't lie," she said, panicked. You used his sperm and didn't tell me. You let me believe Eliza was ours. You let me build a life around a lie." She started crying, saying she thought she was doing what was best. That I was depressed, broken, and she just wanted to give me hope. that the clinic needed a donor quickly, and Ben was a good option, that she never expected to get pregnant. But it wasn't just betrayal, it was premeditated. She'd gone behind my back, reached out to an old flame, and let him give her the one thing I couldn't. Then she wrapped that act in silence and handed it to me as a gift. I packed a bag that night. I didn't yell, I didn't scream. I just walked away. The next morning, I filed for divorce. The worst part wasn't leaving Claire, it was leaving Eliza, because she still felt like my daughter. I fed her, held her, loved her. I was there when she opened her eyes for the first time. But biology has a cruel way of drawing lines, and hers didn't include me. I haven't seen Eliza in 2 years. People ask me if I regret it, walking away, if I ever wish I'd stayed. And the truth is, I don't know. I grieve her every day, but I couldn't live a lie, no matter how sweet it felt. Because in the end, it wasn't just the betrayal that broke me. It was that, for a moment, I believed I was enough, and I wasn't.